Okay, so for question 4 now, we're going to move a little bit past where we were, and we're going to include the impossible maze as part of our impossible quiz. Generally, these are two different things, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. And essentially, pretty straightforward stuff. You click the play button, you're placed into this one colored area, and your job is to move your mouse around to get to the end point. Of course, if you exit the area, you lose. And so pretty straightforward as far as gameplay goes. For our purposes, we're going to use a pretty similar, oops, didn't mean to do that, a pretty similar format. Initially, the play button can be there. It doesn't have to be. That'll kind of be your choice, I guess. I'll show you how to use the play button anyways. And then you're placed in this open area. You can make your form and your maze as complex as you choose. This one's fairly simple, and of course, same idea. I'm just moving my mouse around, and as long as I'm in the white area, I'm safe. Now, a couple of things that I have here. In this case, an invisible wall was placed right there. You can sort of see I'm about to touch it. Once the invisible wall is not invisible anymore, then it's a real wall, and if I hit it, I lose. So the idea is that that invisible wall was placed there. I'm able to hit it, and the maze, whoops. Once I hit that invisible wall, the maze rearranges slightly and allows me sort of a new path that is the correct path, the one I'm supposed to take, to get down to my eventual goal of this orange box right down near the bottom here. And the last thing I sort of added in, of course, is the ability for the box to jump. And then when I come over here, click, and in theory at least, that's when the game is done. So let's see what we've got here. First thing to note is this line of code will have to be added to your form. I've got it in the note already, this private declare line. Essentially just copy paste it. In this case, when the form first loads up, I set my position, my cursor position, to be this. So me.left is basically just saying move me 250 pixels to the right, actually, of the upper corner here. So it moves me out 250 and down 220 so that I'm on top of that button. So you can kind of play with this. Me.left, me.top puts me in the upper left corner. And then as I increase my values, I'll move to the right. As I increase these values, I'll move down. So sort of find your position that way. When the button is clicked, the cursor position is changed to be in this box over here. And button play is set visible false, meaning it disappears. The thing of note here is that each of these boxes is simply a black label. So it's a label that I've drawn. I've changed the background color to be black. And you'll notice that each of them, label 1, label 2, label 3, simply has one command, restart. So it's label 1 mouse move. I've chosen mouse move instead of mouse hover, which you may have used before, because mouse move's a little bit quicker to react. Mouse hover is basically if I stay over top of the item, then that code reacts. In this case, as soon as the mouse is moved onto or over top of the label, this will react. So restart. And again, restart, restart, restart. You can sort of see that that is the only command that exists in any of these. Now restart, I'll slide down here and show it to you, is a sub that I created. And it's sub I created because I knew that I had to do the same thing several times throughout my program. In this case, a message box pops up saying you're dead. Your cursor is reset to be back in that upper left box. And then the other things that would normally happen when my program has to restart is I've died, so I have to decrease my lives. I have to reprint the lives in the upper left corner. You may have noticed I didn't have that on here, but normally I would have something up there like I did on all the previous ones that says lives 3, lives 2. So that would have to be reprinted. And then one of the things we still haven't done, but we will do in the next little bit, is check to see if our lives has gotten to 0. And so, of course, if the lives is 0, then we have to terminate our entire program. Now, because I have to do these 5 things and possibly others every single time I hit any of the labels, instead of putting those 5 or 6 lines of code in here and then rewriting them in here, and again, so on and so forth for all the labels on my screen, I think I have about 14 overall. I don't have the code in for all of them, but essentially there's about 14 of them there. So instead of doing that over and over and over, I make this one command restart, and then again, all of the code is in one location. And the biggest advantage here, obviously, is that I don't have to type that same thing and copy and paste it over and over. But kind of an unseen advantage maybe is the fact that I may realize after I've done part of my program that, oh, I forgot something. And so again, instead of going back and having to fix it in a bunch of different spots or add it to a bunch of different spots, I can do it in just this one location. This way too, of course, if I have made an error and something isn't working properly, I know exactly where to go to fix it, and again, only have to fix it that one time. So that's sort of the real key to this, is sort of understanding that we can create our own subs, essentially our own new commands that are combinations of other existing commands, so that we can then just call them one time from anywhere in our program and do all these things each time. Last couple of things then. My fake goal was just the end goal. I had this box called fake, this box called goal. Goal was not showing up initially, and so when I get to the point where I've hit the fake goal, the real goal becomes visible, the fake one becomes visible false. And so instead of worrying about trying to move the actual goal, I just had that fake one. The real one shows up, and then in theory, when I mouse over to it, my program will move on to the next level. And then the invisible wall probably could have been done a couple of different ways here, but in this case, I simply worked with the background color, saying if the background color is black already, then it's a regular wall and we have to restart. The else handles the opposite situation, of course. It's the one where my background color is not black when I first hit it. So then the invisible wall's background color becomes black, meaning it becomes a real wall. And then this changes that one big block. So right here I have quite a large block. It's label 9. When I hit that invisible wall, it shrinks that slightly in height and slightly in width to give me more room to move around. It sets my cursor position to be somewhere where I'm not going to run into the wall right away, even as things are changing, and then allows me just to kind of continue from there. So again, we'll just sort of go through this fairly quickly if I can. So I've come around this way. Oops, don't click. And then again, when I hit that wall, it jumps my cursor back up to here, so it's in a fairly safe zone, so I don't panic and hit a wall right away. And then this box right here, is that label 9. You can see that it's not as wide and not as tall as it once was, so that I then have this path open up and I could continue in theory that way.